you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We'll get started. Welcome to the hearing for the proposed Law and Order Title Chapter 8, 10A Banishment Ordinance. We're here today because we have heard lots of complaints from the community, and we've had requests that the tribal council enact a banishment ordinance. So we're here with a draft of that banishment ordinance today. And the purpose for the hearing is to have any input from the community regarding this draft. You have the opportunity to state anything that you're against, anything that you support, or if you have other comments that you'd like to make. We're going to be streaming live on air, so if you are going to give testimony and tell a story, please do not mention names unless they're yourself or your family. We'll give everybody 10 minutes, and if you need a little bit more time, you could either get the floor again, but it looks like we don't have that many people here, so I think if there's a little bit more time that's needed, we can be flexible with that. If anybody has any questions or anything's unclear, just raise your hand and I'll address you. Yes.
Sure. Some of what I have to share, I have many relatives here. They're more apt to speak and hear in Dakota. What I'm sharing is it going to take over that 10 minutes to
That's okay.
do a translation?
Yes. No, that's welcomed and appreciated. So Michelle 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘, myself, and 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗘 are all a part of the Governmental Affairs Committee. This committee, and Allison is our secretary. This committee is the one that enacts ordinances for the tribe. And we'll work with the public and the people. We want to hear from everybody. We do know that banishment is a very scary topic. And we've asked Mr. 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘 to come and give us some background on banishment as far as our people are concerned as well. But before we get started, I would like to before we start with testimony, I would like to get started with a prayer to ask Mr. 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘 to give us a prayer and the background information. I'll say that.
Oyukat kaşla. Apet olesa oyatik gidiyoruz. Yok diye ki tak otovan kipkapı. Oyukale apet ki. Zaten nasıl kiçükte. İyi de taku hinap tuttu. Ne iyi ki de aman kibra. Viçoy uki hena. Duini çöpek suya bu çiftçiniz kavaşı suya çiftçi. Uçatıkaşla le apet ki. Hani oyatı ki. Oyapı ki hece. Yuske zaniye oyapı. Daha korota yapapı ki hena. Doktorna oya çöpü ki. Haker oblakıkte. Uçatıkaşla. Taturti vaște una wakha preti. Namici khupo. Numitak vetlena. Apetrele namici khupta ogna tohma okakhne kapiteki. Nija chutema vaște. Dueni chateksu vachishi. Ta kobrakitna. Istvat ki utmi chachi vachishi. Teatakash apetrele leche. Niet otroka. Vochekeki. Вошла хапичу, нитховашимо, ушипилахо. Икчевичаше еучапи. Макхакела акал ушя, че укаман бида. Никресла акал япету химеки. Такун хапикетеле. Ниет отхакат кашла. Ойваниш чапите. Поэте кашла. Нумичихопо. Узани почитя. Лена апету такоми. Ояти нахубита. It's a woman. You talk to me. Doamna Dakota, o ia la capina. Dakota, 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗡 viačini. Ogna uičoja ke oblaka vačini. Ogna Dakota oblaka iš kota petakilja. Maja Dakota ja pokipšni na košku. Ja usimići čalakona skapa kojate, a uičoja ke obila, ne da oblaka. Ekvipni skapa. Kako je velike gazete kako piše. I koliko Elijah thoughts look like you had to. I want to address my two cousins here first. I may be able to speak before them. These two cousins, they also come from Hollywood, and they are truly my relatives. And to speak before them, I ask their guidance and permission that I may do so. I want to share a story. I ask in my prayer that our words don't find somebody's, to hurt somebody's feelings or your mind. But sometimes we've got to hear things said in a way that historically, our history is in stories. When you listen to these stories, they're just not something that you talk about for enjoyment. We listen to the morals and the values and what this story tells us. What does it mean? What does this tell us in this story? I want to talk about a way of life that our people lived and how they addressed issues. On something that's on the minds of a lot of our people that should be here and addressing this today. I grew up very humbly with my grandparents, uncles, and aunties who shared with me stories and how our people took care of themselves. I want to share one particular story with you. It talks about a young man who lived with his father out there. What's he at that up north? The people up north are having some doings, some celebrations, and they asked me to come. They asked me to come be a part of it. So I seek your permission. Father said, by all means, if you are invited, you need to go. But I just need to know which one of the warrior societies is going to be with you in case we have a situation. Out there, that's just that. I'm going to be going by myself. His father says, no. The Crow are moving around. The Pawnee have been sighted. You're not going out there alone. Take one of the warrior societies. Out there, I talked to them. They all have commitments elsewhere. They can't come with me. And this is the time. You just can't go. It's too dangerous out there. No, you're not going. Now this young man, he honored his father. He loved his father. So, he agreed. Go on. And he went back to his camp. The father was watching him go, feeling very sad. He had to say these things to his son. Then he heard a voice behind him. His wife walked up behind him. She said, you raised a very fine son. You taught him everything that he knows, plus more, the other men, societies. He knows a lot. He's responsible. He can take care of himself. You need to know when to trust your son. That's all she said. She walked back to the TV. He heard this and he went to his son's TV. So, yeah, he believed it. He didn't think it over. It was his wife, in your words. Son, I thought it over. But I want you to remember what I told you about the crow and the Pawnee. You're ready, go ahead and go. He thanked him. He went back to his teepee, the father. He pretended to be working on something in front of his teepee, waiting for the moment his son's going to ride through camp. Then he heard them. He slowly stood up and he was going to wave to his son. As he started to raise his hand, his son came around that teepee. Proudly he stood tall, my son. And then there was another horse, pack horse. Oh, he's taking things. Good. Then there was a third horse. It was his young wife. The father wanted to rush forward and say, no. I didn't say you could take your wife. It's too dangerous out there. But he already gave his word. So he backed off. Then he watched him right out of camp. They went on. Not the Dakota. We know our country. We know all of the prairie, all of the valleys, all of the creek bottoms, the tree lines. We know where water is. He came to this big open meadow. He was looking up there. To get across would be quick, but the safe way would to follow the creek bottom, where he could seek hiding if there's any problems. But it would take over half a day, maybe a whole day to get to the other side. So he studied this field. It looked good. So he rode forward. By the time he got out about in the middle, another rider popped up on the other side. He stopped his horse, and there was a way when they kicked your horse, your front left quarter, that horse would drop immediately. And they could crawl away and find advantage points. But he couldn't do this because he had a pack horse and he had his wife. His thoughts were, maybe he's one of us. Or maybe he's an ally, Shahida. Maybe he's Cheyenne, maybe he's Arapaho. They're across the prairie. They rode toward each other. There was a 𝗟𝗓𝗩𝗘, it was a crow. So he gets off his horse, and they're walking around, sizing each other up. They were walking around, looking at each other. They're walking around. They knew very few words of each other's language. So the crow first said, I see you, and you may be an honorable man amongst your people. Dakota said, so too I see you as an honorable man. Agreed, the crow said. As men of honor, we know we cannot ride away from this. Dakota said, I'm not going nowhere. As men of honor, we know we must have our fight because you are my enemy and you are mine. As men of honor, we will have our fight here today. But as men of honor, we can say something here today. We can do something here today. I'm listening. As men of honor, we will have our fight, but we don't have to kill each other. We can do this as men of honor here today. Dakota says, I agree. As men of honor. The crow said, if you beat me, everything I have, my horse, you can strip me naked, but let me live to find my way home. We don't have to kill each other. Okay? And if I beat you, I get everything of yours. Okay? That includes your young wife. This Lakota man knew himself. his confidence, and how he was raised. He knew that he could beat this crow. He could take this challenge and win. He had that much confidence in who he was. So he said, agreed. So they went at it. Pretty soon they knocked each other's weapons away from each other. And they went fist to fist. Sometimes one had one on the ground, the other had the other one on the ground, back and forth. And the young wife was walking back and forth, watching back and forth, all of them, watching, waiting. And at one moment, this crow had her husband pinned out, and he was ready to start beating on him. She rushed forward when he raised his hand. She grabbed him by the wrist, she pulled her knife, and she put her knife in his hand so he could kill her husband. Now, I don't know where he got the adrenaline from. But when that kicked in, he kicked out of that fight. And he beat that crow, stripped him down, ran him off. Quietly, he packed everything onto that horse. Went up north, did the ceremonies, and came back. At home, he's sitting in his lodge. He hears the doorbell ring. You know, we had doorbells. You know, the deer toes, tie them on the leather, you rattle them. The doorbell. Jimayo, come on in. What's going on? What's going on? We're having competitions, and you always like to compete. You love to compete, but you're not there. What's going on? At night, we're having storytelling, and you love to listen to stories. You love to share your stories. What's going on? What's he talking? Sit down and want to talk to you. His brother-in-law said to him, he told him everything that happened out there on the plains. Brother-in-law sat there looking at the ground. The young wife comes in. Nika, I'm going to go get water. She picks up the water pouches. When she goes out to teepee, the brother follows her on. She gets down to the creek. Before she could reach down, gather water, he grabs her by the braids, pulls her hair back, pulls his knife, he slices her throat. She already killed him out there on that prairie. Not physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. He was being groomed to be a leader. If there was any situation, he never would have made it. She put the whole camp. She jeopardized the whole camp by her actions, what she did. What does that have to do with why we're here today? Tried to care of themselves. The living function of how they handle things. They addressed it. Sometimes a family member, they would call the elders. Mediation. Let's sit down. You can't do that today when we have an adversarial court with only one winner. Mediation. Leaders from his society would talk with them. If someone was dysfunctional, they would flog him. We do not do these things. Clean up your act. If he continued, they destroyed his weapons. You'd have to remake everything. They would kill his best buffalo pony. You'd have to retrain one. He'd kill his favorite war pony. One he relied on for his life in battle. You'd have to retrain one all over again. He might even go so far to destroy his lodge. And if he continued the warrior society, it's no use. We can't banish him. He's going to go to another community, and he's going to be just as dysfunctional over there. And that geospy is going to come on you. Maybe the Oglala, Cheyenne River, wherever this man goes. It's Rosebud. Take it out on Rosebud. So what was the answer? They put him to death. We can't do that today because of the crow dog spotted tail situation. And this government wanted total control over us. They created a major crimes act. Address it in a way that's honorable to our people. What can we do to these people? Incarceration just doesn't help. There was a time when certain other stories, when this guy was dysfunctional to his people, the people says, you are not allowed to participate in any of that social ceremonies, nor our ceremonial ceremonies, our spiritual ceremonies. You won't be wanted. You're not going to participate. How do I cleanse myself? We let the people decide. What do I do? Okay, Rosebud Rosebud told me this man was taken and told, you see that family over there that needs wood? Don't ask. You see the need. You go get wood to get that family. And don't ask for nothing. You see this other ones over here, they need their cleaning. They need this, they need that. We call it community service hours. Service hours, let's call it service years. And then the people, after 10 years, they sat him down and said, "Hey, participate now." But otherwise, you don't get involved in any community function. You belong to your people, and they will decide when you can participate again. If you still believe, and you want to choose to be not one of us anymore, say it. Okay, welcome. What are you use your words? We use these words very easily to hurt each other. Other times we use our words too quickly and we hurt people's hearts. But is there another way? Is banishment the answer? I just laid this scenario down for you on how it was done a long time ago. Yeah, we talked to them and made your competent.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, committee. Let me show.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. With that, before we start the testimony, for those of you who just came in the room, I just will repeat some of the ground rules we went over. I want to acknowledge our Sergeant at Arms as well. Ben Whitehorse, I forgot to mention you earlier, I apologize. Ben is keeping attendance and keeping a list of everybody that wants to give testimony. So there's two sign-in sheets going around. When you whenever you stand to give testimony, please state if you're for or against banishment. And if there's changes that you would like to see in this, you don't agree with the ordinance, please state that too in your testimony. Maybe there's something in here you don't agree with, but you're for banishment. So you would say, I'm for I support this ordinance, I'm for it, but I address whatever issues. And if you're against it, also speak to that as well. You got a list for us, Ben?
There was an opening statement I wanted to include that today our people are under an IRA government which uses policies, rules, and laws under the IRA government. What I shared with you was a traditional way of how they handle things on the go. So if you want to use the IRA, you can vote for this banishment because they've got to follow those type of laws. But is there a way to get that family responsible in a traditional manner? Some sort of word.
Thank you. Also, we are streaming live, so if you are here to address, please do not mention people's names unless it's yourself or your family that you have permission to mention their names. And we are giving 10 minutes. And I think that's everything. So the first person we have on the list is Lenora Quickfair McCloskey. Okay. Thank you for being here with us. Would you like to speak in Lakota and have a translator, or do you want to, how do you want to do it? Thank you.
I have some documents here, who we are and how we got here, how we came here. Oh, no?
Yes.
Okay. So I got papers here. Do I have to stand? Or-
You can sit. You're fine. Yes.
Chair? Because first of all, I have my senses of who I am with the BIA. Either 8/8 or 4/4 Lakota. And I got the documents here with my physical ID. And I got my bill of sale for my home. Pictures and I got this bill of sale, I got this from a past vice president of private house, way back in the 60s. This is myself and my grandsons that we are at, what do you call that when you're enrolled with the type?
You're
Abstract. That's what this is. And I got my home site from my grandfather. My papers are old, and I've been listening to my grandparents. I had a lot of grandparents that were teaching me. And my grandpa is Quickfair. Henry Quickfair. And this is his picture. Good. And he was a police officer at one time. He was paid $5 an hour to take care of the road for the day. And this here is my dad, Francis Quickfair, Senior. Dakota University gave him this, and they honored the elders. Now, those two to prove that who I am. And this is my grandfather. They said he was a sub-chief in Corn Creek Black Pipe. Of course, he had one head. And this is his baptism. See how old the baptismal card is on my grandpa? You want to look at that? And this is who we are, quick down, from my grandfather. Grandfather was married to my grandmother, Alice Search the Enemy, quick there. And they were married in North Corn Creek, Small Creek. President William McKinley gave him a paper with the red seal on it and gave him land to live on. Gave him 2 cows, whatever they could start to place it. And everything here was reported in White River. Everybody went to White River, and then we started coming this way. And that's how my grandpa Dick came. He was running the. And this is my grandfather and my grandmother. This is Sarah Search the Enemy, and this is where we got our land from. We passed it down, home assignment, and that's who we are, Big Bears. And there's a lot of us. My grandfather had a lot of kids, sons, and women. They were in the service, and I had those, but some of the service papers got lost. The Legion did. And we all started with my grandfather here. They started from White River. Everything was registered in White River, where it was like this Rosebud. They started coming this way. My dad was born, so he started coming this way, and he worked there. And he was working for the road department. And he took care of all the buildings. And that was a museum. That wooden log house was a museum. And he made war bounts there. And that's how they sold their beadwork. And that's how they got money. It was never, come to the tribe here and we'll give you money for graduating, doing all this. It wasn't like that. We worked with our beating, whatever van we had, and kind of raised horses. So my dad was a horseman. Always had horses. So when I got to the home assignment, and I lived 1 mile west of St. Francis, my dad always had that land when we were in boarding school. And I got papers here that when we were in boarding school, but first I want to go through. When I got my land, grandfather, Richard Cuba, came out there and had a willow stick, looking for water. We walked all around that 21.30 acres. We walked with my kids. My daughter's sitting back here, and he makes flutes, and he made money. We've got the papers here. And that's how we got started there. And then I got my home. And that's my home. I have my IDs, physical IDs, my house I own. They come all here. And this is my CIA enrollment. And then when I came here, he didn't recognize this. No, you gotta get the census. You gotta get our census, not that one. So I got those census, and then they gave me a physical address. And I had 2 addresses, 29383 and 29384. So which one do I use? I put one on the driver's license, so we went by the driver's license. My address was on a different lane. Brothers, land. And I got the pictures of where I live, a map. everything right here makes me who I am to be here. We went through a lot of abuse by people. From walking by, driving through, following around. And I keep reporting it. And I got my grandson's ID when they first started. And this woman that took the enrollment race, in the past, she graduated from St. Francis when my grandfather was the TLE director. She got a job there, and my grandson's ID, and he was young. And these are my kids. It's in this little house that they've given me at the tripod. We had to pay $25 a month for 2 years. And after 2 years, the vice president added it all up, and okay, you made your month, but you need it. And he gave me a bill of sale. And I have that there. And this is all my mom's probate. The land passed to us, my dad. And she's on there. This is my sister. And she's on there too. We have all this. And then my dad passed down some of the papers. See how old some of my papers are? Fragile. But after this, I'm passing this on to my nephew, Henry. He's got the pipe. We have the staff and the leshka, the circle, and the pipe. These demands are these coming. Handle that. On the end, and this butt here, same thing, all the aspects that I get every time something came up. I got it, and I have pictures of land that we acquired standing. And I have the maps for that too. And people started, this is my mom and dad. And they used to be in Whitever when they had parades for cheer days. My dad was a rider. On here and then on the back. And this here is passed down from my dad from Stanford. My grandfather, brother's name was 𝗟𝗓𝗓. And he was killed in the Battle of Little Bighorn, and he's buried in Wounded Knee. And I got papers here to show for it. And this was his land and standing up. And these are all maps of the land. And some of my nieces inherit, we have heirs. There was a lot of heirs, and one of them said, I'm going to sell my land. So if you do that, you can't live on the reservation. Very too late. Have a land. Grandpa gave that to us. Make a home. That way you won't be homeless. Learn how to make a shelter. I lived in a longhouse. I lived in a teepee. I lived in a tent. I got my house back in the 60s. And so this proves to me that we're put there, yet we were really abused. They took our grandkids' houses away, only raising. My brother, I lost my brother in 2020 to COVID. Nobody wants to help. They said they got COVID headstones. But the boy he left in charge, this is my land, you get out of it. I'm going to shoot you. And he's shooting off guns. And I'm just just a block away. And then he started, a woman went into his life, took over on him, and he's handicapped. And my brother told me, he went to prison. He was supposed to have surgery, but they didn't do it. So at 14, 15, he made kids. He was handicapped. He sat 2 years, 1 year, studied, couldn't remember nothing. Next day, he didn't do nothing. The judge said, you've got a mind of a child. We're going to drop this here, and you can go home. So we took care of him. And then this woman popped in, over at the house. He's going back to jail. He gave me that house. This is my land. I said, no, I got papers here to show. And if you don't believe me, I said, I'll go to the council and show it to the, I asked for BI's help, BI's help, top, everybody. Still going on. Of course, I'm pretty sure some of you read it. Workers come in our land, and they scratch on the house, broke my corners of the plaster, broke my windows. They renovated, and they live in like a trailer house now. But they didn't do a good job. So this is the story of our 𝗟𝗡𝗩𝗘 lives. And this is the scanning of that. Lander. So that's why I brought all these papers to prove that when you live on this reservation, you have to know who you are, who your grandparents are. Know your bloodline. They used to tell us all the time. Know your bloodline. Wait, I want to be left up. Oh, watch your blood. Make sure you're Indian. You don't mix it. And then you don't go around fighting, beating up people. You do that. Here's the road. You're not happy here? Here's the road. Take everything that they have. You take that people. This is what part of the paper. My birth certificate. All old. Yet when I come here, oh, you gotta give Rosebud to try. I am here. And this is my picture, my birth certificate. Yep, I gotta get different papers, but maybe a different type of paper. I don't know. And then I got more paper here. That when the chiefs got together with our Heinrich, Charlie Brick, all these chiefs, we were with me, her, and this car was a Model A or Model T. So, by 1946. So I said, when you have papers, you got to make sure you have it somewhere. Carried this around in a tin suitcase. Wherever we moved. Most of my sister's stuff here burnt when she had a house fire. And so this is all of me and 𝗟𝗡𝗩𝗘, actually 𝗟𝗡𝗩𝗘. And my brother's land, I've been following the cops, everybody, that horses coming on yard. 1910, ever since 1910, all the way down. I came here once before when last President Kendall was here. I came in front of him and there was 32 incidents happened there. People dying in Breton. And I had all those reports. And I still get bothered by people driving through, especially holidays and weekends. They go, oh, it comes to hot. They say, but you don't belong here. I know I don't belong here, and they still try to come in our house. And I keep calling the cops, and they have a record. And when we went to boarding school, this is part of the boarding school papers I got. And the land I live on, my dad was doing hay. We had horses. He did hay. We had a little small square bale. That picture's right there, and we're sitting there checked up in the boarding school. We're sitting right there. My dad, my brother, my youngest brother, he passed away. But my sister and I and my younger sister are sitting there. And this other stuff here, the smaller stuff here, is my sister's obituary. Nobody cares, nothing. I had all that land, so I gave her a share, gave my sister a share. But maybe someday they'll beat you up and you don't have nowhere to go. You can always live there or trade it in or land someplace and get a house. My sister's passed away. And this is my boarding school picture. Court card, and on here, 1947. Yet I didn't know English. You know, my grandson, that one, had us for the school. She lived in St. Francis. And these are my report cards. This is my sister here, and I. Who proved that. She's my sister. They call her a white woman. They gave her that time. All her down, even our own nieces make fun of her. So we went through a lot of abuse. So I told them that when all this stuff was going on, my grandfather and my grandfather killed himself. His brothers, the brothers, the white hats, thought of them. They all raised us. Her, I, and my brother, 2 brothers and sister. And they always tell me, watch your bloodline. You do anything, you fight, you can't get along, okay. Gather your stuff, you're not happy here, go. Don't come back. And then they used to say, oh, we're not. So they tell them, go. We leave these people alone, can't get along, go. And I thought that was banishment. You're not welcome here because you're not getting along with your own kind. Even to animals. We respect the 4-legged, the 2-legged, and the winged. And we pray all the time. That's why I have all this. I was taught to do this. You don't control who you are. And that's where we are today. When I heard about this and when she lost her house, van and stuff, trying to get her out of the community, something's got to be done. We can't even go to the community meeting. If the chairman stands up, we don't talk about horses yet. So what are we to do? We're not Dakotas. They're supposed to help us. They said education, health, housing. Yeah. We don't get nothing. They take it away from us.
Our grandfathers started this reservation.
We did. They started this.
Yes.
And the good barrier goes way back into 18. You want to look at the date? But that's why I wanted to bring this and help support her and her grandson. Her grandson's trying to do something in the community, trying to do good. That's what we need. We need Dakotas to help each other and stand together and be strong. Be that nation again. Grandpas pop into our heads. People have to know who they are, where they come from. You're Dakota, and then you find out which way. Pine Ridge, because at one time, Pine Ridge, Eagle Butte, we were all one. I got relatives in Eagle Butte and North Dakota and Pine Ridge. And one of our kids could be a chief. But there's no Dakota. Everybody watches that TV and then they're all talking like people. Language was gone. No Dakota way in. You say something Dakota, don't do that. Picture snap. What? You're teaching, or they say something. They make fun. All kind of. I don't know. They really don't believe it. What's going on this reservation? Where's the great Sioux nation? And then they give you something, elders, youth. Then you come to find out. They gave us stuff, or not. Where did it go? We didn't get it. Big meeting went on. They gave you stuff. They gave you money. Where's it at? We go through a lot of abuse. We need to, people to, even the communities to talk to their kids. Tell them who they are. There's about 8 people young people came to my door, just standing there in the days. And my grandkids have to tell them, leave, you don't belong, you don't live here. Where's your papers, where's your permit? And I got another pile of this. I have a pile here for everything I have. Bill of sale, the house, the right-of-ways, the water main, Tony, the wind turbine. I got everything. Yet when the wind turbine went wrong, there was nobody there. They didn't know nothing about it. So finally, I asked the secretary or a vice president, I called up, you know anything about the wind turbine? I said, mine is, the switch is on and the hot wire going across my yard. And I said, the thing broke. I said, it's just turning all kinds of ways. It's hot. Lightning, I said, lightning goes through it. It was hot. I said, I'll get somebody. I said, I even called Pennsylvania. He said, I'll get somebody. I'll find somebody. Within that day, he called me back and he said, I'm sending somebody else. I think there's probably the class. Came up and hooked it. So that wire is dead across my yard. I had hot wires. Nobody cared. Today, sitting here with my gas line, I needed that fixed. I went to housing and did it. You're the homeowner, you're supposed to do this and that. I said, out and BIA, they know where to go. And then people don't like it when I say you have to go to BIA because if you're from Rosebud, they're not put up. They'll show you where to go or what to do. No, nobody likes BIA. I don't know why. They're not full bloods or what? That's who I am and that's who we are right here. My grandkids. So I wanted to prove that. And my grandfather up there and wounded knee, and I got the paper to prove it too. His name's on it. And put theirs. That's part of the standing rock land I had. We inherited. That's all I gotta say. But I had my other pile of paper that I receipts. And have receipts for everything. Wood permit, water permit, really showing it in another place. Somebody said, why don't you put up a pole? At night, people come up the fires all night so we can shifts. Some of us didn't see it. The fires turning around back and forth. People screaming. No respect, no honor for who you are. I gotta do something. My life is short. Very short. And I'm leaving all of this to my nephew, that's Henry, the pipe carrier, and my grandkids. That way, if something happens, they know what to do on this Rosebud reservation. A lot of mean people out there that give us a bad time just because you have your own place. I live right along the canyon, pine trees. They go by and go through there. There's a fire department helped me get a fire guard. They said that's the road. When they go to the community meetings, there's not that road fixed. I said, that's not a road, that's my backyard. There's clotheslines back there. Nobody helped. And I heard this, and when she was having problems, I said, we need to do something. Our life is short now. We've got to do something. That way our grandkids, future grandkids, will always have a place. They know who they are. Parents better get on them and tell them who your grandpa, this is your grandpa, you remember. Your bloodline. You're not full half, then they know what to do. Should have gotten one. 29?
Thank you for sharing.
Very good question.
Yes.
Is this committee working with, what I'm hearing from there is, blood quantum, apps, orders? In 2005, the council has leaned on this. Was that repealed?
No, it's never been repealed.
Yeah.
That would take a secretarial election, and we tried to have one last term, I think. And then, when the
What
new,
happened to the results of the secretarial election in 2005?
those are what we're going by now,
Then,
with the lineal descent.
legal dissent was put in place.
Yes.
When couple of members are talking about blood quantum here. It's not the right language to be using, that your mixed blood would have. And it's this ordinance relates to tribal members also.
Yes.
Because I am looking at this one here, it says removal of non-members.
And the other one is for the members.
This one is for members. So, yeah.
Right now, we only have jurisdiction, or the law and order code only allows for the banishment of non-members. So what we're talking about today is including enrolled members.
More detrimental to the
Yes. If that's what the people want, we'll push some legislation. Thank you. Okay, Julie Lambert.
Good afternoon. My name is Julie Lambert, and I am for the banishment. I do not see in the ordinance anything about murder, but I believe that should be added in. I come to you today as a grieving mother.
Julie, take your time.
Okay, it's my turn now.
Okay. I am writing to you today as a grieving mother, tribal member, and an educator within our community. On May 22nd, 2025, my life was forever changed when my son, Baptiste Dreamer Lambert, was taken from us by murder on our reservation land. The pain of his absence is a daily burden for my family and everyone who knew and loved him. In the wake of this tragedy, I am coming before you to urge the Rosebud Sioux Tribe Council to enact and strictly enforce a policy of permanent banishment for any tribal member who commits murder within the boundaries of our reservation. Banishment is a traditional and powerful form of justice. Historically, our people understood that those who take the life of a relative disrupt the sacred harmony of the community and forfeit their right to walk among us. Today, enacting a firm stance on banishment is a necessary step to protect our people, but it must also serve a larger purpose, bringing vital awareness to the devastating impact of gun violence on our reservation land. We cannot allow illegal firearms and violent acts to tear our communities apart. By implementing banishment for the ultimate act of violence, the council sends a clear, unwavering message that gun violence will not be tolerated and the lives of our people and lives like my son Dreamer's are sacred. Allowing individuals who commit these crimes to remain on or return to our lands compromises the safety of our youth and elders while inflicting continuous trauma on the grieving families. I ask that you take a firm stand for accountability, tradition, and community protection. We must work together to end gun violence and ensure our reservation remains a safe sanctuary for future generations. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your commitment to protecting our community. Respectfully, Julianne Lambert.
Thank you, Julie. I know that was hard for you. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate your feedback. Have Simone. Simone's on.
Oh, that was for me to help her, yes.
Simone, did you want to stand up and state if you're for or against?
I am for the banishment.
Rita Bigro? Go ahead, Rita, you got the floor.
My name is Rita Bickrow. I'm from St. Francis. I'm for the banishment. The reason why I'm for the banishment is because my children, I had some children, and they were tortured and terrorized and been raped, and they never did nothing. And so the people are still walking around out there doing the same thing, and they got away with it. And so and years ago when these people were kicked out of the reservation, they gave them a floater, where the floater meant they kicked them off the reservation, not off St. Francis, so that they don't come back for so many years. And, my children are in treatment right now, and they're doing really good, but they go through this trauma. And they don't forget what happened to them, but, they still didn't get justice. And, it's, the law is just, and these two officers, they took these statements, they just let them go. Because this person says, they're not going to do nothing to us, we have something against them, and that really bothers me because, the crime, they did a crime and they got away with it, and I just don't, I'm for the banishment or whatever, because, they're still on here and still doing the same thing, But, how many more are they going to get killed in St. Francis? How many more are going to get raped? How many more are going to be, beaten with bats and chains? And we're just going to sit here and let it happen? Go through what we went through. Go to St. Francis and live there. See how you guys feel. What they can do to your family. It's not only me, it's other people. And we lived in fear. I have some grandkids. And, and people go by and they threaten my little grandson with a gun. I reported that. They don't do nothing. The other parents don't do nothing. But I
Thank you, Rita. I appreciate your feedback. Thomas Hacker? And, well, before Thomas speaks, is there anybody else that needs to sign up?
Yeah.
Okay. I took the top page off then.
Okay.
Mr. Hacker.
Hello, everyone. My name's Tom Hacker, and I do shake everybody's hand. My heart is standing up, doing something for the welfare of people, for 𝗟𝗓𝗓. I always had a heart for 𝗟𝗓𝗓, and I still do. And I live in St. Francis now, and not a good speaker, but I know I'm going to say some hard things. I'm not going to be tactful or diplomatic. problematic or whatever. I've known this family since I was in grade school. And since then, all the way to high school, you know, their kids and their kids, some of the kids' kids, and they've always gamed people, hurt people. Like, I don't know if you say mother or twin brother, says not to name names, but you know, I had families that got gamed by them. But you know, this is back in the day, and they gamed them, but he caught each one by one. And they gamed my twin with a chain. And there's a lot of, you know, that's just, you know, what he is about it. It's cowardly. I mean, it is cowardly, you know. And but it's I've seen it all through, you know, growing up. When I come back, it's still that way. And I've seen an individual, you know, maybe a year older than me, but he's been doing it for years. You know, him and his family and his kids. That's why I say I'm going to say some hard things, but it's got to be said because that's what we're here about is this banishment, which I'm for. I seen them. I had nieces back in the years, and other women, young ladies. You know, they invite them to this place with meth and drinking, and they take advantage of the vulnerable, you know, young ladies that they don't come from a strong, you know, a strong, stable house. And it's happened over and over. And there's I know of you can call it hearsay, but it's true. You know, some of these young women have been raped, you know, been violated. You know, there's no, they step on the sanctity of life, you know. And these young women, they're traumatized, scarred for life, emotionally, personally. I mean, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You know, their self-worth's gone. It affects different ones in different areas. And I know that people, the ones who've been raped, some of them, they're coerced. And, you know, and they're just vulnerable. And then they're threatened if they want to say something to somebody. This latest one, she's my niece, relative-wise, and she told me everything that happened. Then there's a situation that happened where she didn't, I said, make sure you complain, make sure you follow through on the report. I will. She told me when she was crying, her and her son were, you know, screaming. And something happened, you know, where she got threatened, intimidated, or whatever. But it's been going on, and you know, that there's a lot of incidents where they use chains on people, big, you know, tow chains for cars. And I heard about it, nephews and just different people. Then one day somebody called me and said, your son, you better get over there. They're gaining him with a chain. So I raced towards St. Francis and I seen my son walking back, you know. It's all bloody. So I picked him up and he was just pissed off. He was mad and humiliated. He told me, I know you can do it, but Dad, you believe in God, you believe in the Lord, and yeah, I'm gonna go back and get some guns. And he was drunk. So they did that to him. He fought one of them, and that guy suckered him with his forehead. And he, you know, he's supposed to be friends. And so I seen him fighting around the block, and you know, I stopped and said, you guys, what's going on? Oh, we're okay, he's my little brother. I said, son, don't ever trust these people. That I know, but one day he got drunk, two of them came with a tow chain, and they used it on him. And I picked him up and I said, calm down, he got his cousins and they were going to do something. I said, you're not ready, I wanted them to hurt them, but I said, you're going to get hurt. I thought you deserved it, but he wouldn't listen, so I called the ambulance and a cop. The cop had to make him go in the ambulance. So I asked the officer, I said, are you going to go get those guys? You know, they beat him with the chain, big heavy chain over he's got to go to the hospital. He said, I can't, he won't press charges. I said, these people been doing this for decades. Same thing, nothing's done. He said, I know. He said, the RPD knows about this, but nobody does anything. And I was still in a red hot, angry mood. And I said, I'm going to do something. And I, just to say I was going to do something very bad. I didn't care my consequences. But I thought about it, and my son, I said, maybe he's going to learn. Maybe he'll learn. And I told him not to trust his dad. And it says, the good book says, forgive. So I forgave, and I told God, I said, not because of me, I'm forgiven, because you told me. I said, vengeance is mine, but I said, if it happens again, I'm going to have to go out with vengeance. But anyway, there's some other things I want to say, but it's something needs to be done about it, and just how many of these people down through the years, I hate to say hard things, but they're true. Down the years, the decades, how many of these people got caught for rape? A few of them. Now, I'd be certain to say that how many times did they rape and they got away with it? I'd say there's a number of times. And nobody does anything about it. It just keeps happening. And they just mingle with the crowd like sheep in hyenas clothing, or hyenas in sheep clothing. They go around mixing, being nice and stuff, and they act like it's okay. And there's many people that talk to me, and they tell me things, but they don't want to come to hear or speak up in public and complain and let people know. I talk to them. They don't want to. They're afraid to speak because there is a lot of I could say something needs to be done. I'm glad this is happening, and it's hard things to say and hard things to do, but people that do this, this outright, do this real bad stuff, no respect, ruining people's lives, and the community would be a lot safer if these people are banished. And I think community people will be for it. There's a lot of people that are for it. And nobody's going to miss being, worried about being threatened or gained or even raped. But thank you for bearing with me. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Hacker. We appreciate your comments today. I have Rosalie Roman Soldier.
I'm glad that you guys are hopeful have this meeting open to people, because a lot of bad things do go around with our neighbors, or any place you go on this reservation. It's scary to live here, and especially to the elders. You're scared that someone will come into your house, beat you up, or even kill you. They just do it. They don't know if they're doing it or what, but people are so different. Like today, the young people don't listen, and they push you out of the way, or they steal your stuff. No consideration that you have feelings and you're old and you have these things because you worked for it. And that's not in our tribal people. I've lost it big time. The generation of people of the Rosebud Sioux tribe are all mean. No consideration for the land, your house, yourself. You talk bad, no manners, don't greet people. I just can't understand what made us like that. That's the biggest difference that I see. The mom, the dad don't correct their kids. They're out doing their own thing, but they have a whole bunch of kids. They don't pay attention. When they do something bad, they gotta get after them. You have them, those are your blood. And you don't want people to say, look at, you're trying to send him out to prison. That's not gonna help him. It's not gonna help him to send him off someplace that they don't know. And they're gonna get worse. And they'll come back. They will. Because we don't give time to love our kids, our sisters and brothers. We forgot all about them. But we worry about ourselves, how much money we have. That's it. No love. Gotta hurry up, buy this, before it goes out of sale. You don't stop to see a homeless person walking. And he gets beat up and gets killed. Just burn him up and bury him. That's the Rosebud tribe does it now. Or they don't try to help you with a headstone. Nothing. I don't know. I talk to my sister a lot. I was raised differently. But I stepped in my Dakota ways and my language. Lila, Yota, Lila, Mishnala Damalakota Zoya, Lehan, Iblukjekta, Mishnala Malakota, because I still have love in my heart and understanding. And I've been here on this reservation now for almost 30 years. Now, this is the worst thing. I see a lot of killing, beating, stealing. And I look at the generation of the people that are here, there's no jobs. You don't teach nothing to kids. Nothing. They don't learn nothing at school. They're just here. And the people that are supposed to be watching over us are not doing nothing. They say they're going to have a meeting of something very important, but what next week will all be forgotten. It's just talk. But nobody listens. First thing we have to do is find out why this person is beating up on people, getting drunk and doing things. Maybe he never went to school. Maybe he doesn't have a dad that hugs him and tells him you're a good son. Or a mom saying, you're a good daughter. You can do everything. You can cook. You can clean house. Because that's how we were raised. Our mom died when we were all little. And my dad, he's a dad. He's a man. Because there's 4 of us. But he took us. He's a cowboy. He took care of our livestock. But Dad took care of us. He took us with him to work, set us someplace to wait for him till he gets off work. He gets home. He feeds us. He tells us about everything. And if one of us do something, he sits us down and tells us. And you remember that? When I come and ask you, you tell me what I just said to you. That's how we were raised. Then when he couldn't take care of us, I went to our grandpa. He's a chief of this Rosebud Sioux tribe. And you know what? He did everything, and he's a man. That's what you call a man. He made this reservation the way it is. How we were all taking care of all of us equally. Not this person, not that person, not the homeless. You know what? We look at the homeless. They're the ones that do bad things. They drink because they have nothing. Try to close your eyes and think about you having nothing. Nothing at all, not even a penny. They gotta go bathroom, they gotta eat, nobody slams their door shut. And it's your relative too, but you slam that door shut. It's us. We have to teach these people that are like that. That's not the way to live. Take them to the jail, put them in our jail, and send them to the treatment center right there. In Rosebud, we have a treatment center that has no patients in there. They're supposed to fix minds. Kids, there's whoever talking to you, or they're supposed to be fixing you, how you feel. And that way you learn and understand. But this generation really don't, nobody. We're too busy, I don't know, playing bingo. That's all we know. They taught us bingo So we do bingo, lose all our money, and then complain, go to the local tribe and ask for money, and they say they're totally broke, they know nothing. We can't help you, we can't make work. But they drive brand new cars, 2 or 3 of them in one family. And they don't pick up the homeless. And this homeless gets mad. He feels not even existing. Turns away and gets violent. Because that's the only way he can feel you, is violence. No love in his heart because you didn't teach him to love or to understand. Or you didn't sit down to talk to them. Don't you cook supper? Learn to cook, keep the floor. They're not taught nothing. Just to make money and spend money. Forget about everybody else on this reservation. And that's how the young people look at us grown-ups. All we do is buy, but we cannot help a young person straighten up his life away from drugs, drinking, making babies. They're not even taught that it takes money. It takes your patience of every day to raise a child. Because remember, when they gave a baby to you, you're the one that's supposed to mold this human being. You should follow the good stuff. All the bad, don't do it. Don't hit your shit. Stuff like that. And this child will grow up to be a good person. But most of all these young people here, nobody takes care of them. Nobody. They're on their own. And they don't do nothing to earn what they get. They all have phones. Everybody you see, you have a phone. They have Dakota actually. Only in that phone, you thank God. This is the only thing they understand is this phone. So we made the biggest mistake, us people. The way the new generation is coming. They're not afraid to shoot you. They're not afraid to break into your house, beat you up. They're not afraid of you. They're not afraid of grandma and grandpa. Nobody. Yeah, and by not paying attention to them, they got that feeling of we do not being wanted. And especially knowing he's the kids Dakota. When you're in Dakota, na Dakota wag lakahanda, you take her, Bioki there, ish translated there, ish shade there. That's your heart. And as Tony had to speak, the land is here, cheek, there, but I had put that thing. And I had some shinika. As you cheek them now, break into your house, walk into your house, take your stuff. We're the ones that didn't teach them. So ask for something to do something, to somehow think about it first. Why did that happen? You know, was it my fault? You have to talk like that to your kids. I'll tell you people something. I have 7 beautiful grandsons. Altogether, I have 17 grandsons. But there's a bunch of them. There are 6 of them. They're wild. I raised them, and here they all got wild. They drank, they did drugs, they did what everybody was talking about, fighting and all that. So this is grandma. I love my grandkids. So I saved my money, and I sent all of them to treatment. I sent them to Minnesota for 1 year apiece. Instead of sending to jail, I sent them to the treatment center. You know what? They came back. They're men. They're kind. They help you. They'll cut your yard. They clean your house. They fix your car. And you know what? They don't even drink. But that helped them, that 1 year of being in treatment. So when somebody does something bad, then the person that does it should be sent away somewhere, not to a jail. But they beat you up in jail too. But send them to a treatment center for so many years, and they'll build the mind back up to put good things in there. And that's how I think because that's how I treat my kids. Discipline is what we need. Discipline, understanding. Because look at the homeless. Nobody loves them. Nobody doesn't want to help them. They'll be homeless because they don't have no love, no understanding on them. That's what we have homeless. Because none of the workers here will hire somebody to pick up trash or cut the grass or something like that. They only get their own relatives to do that. And they feel left out. And that's how I understand. And I may talk different. And I may talk meaty. But what I say, I leave from my heart. And that's how I raised my family. And I still have every one of my family not in jail. And that's what everybody's got to do, understand the generation. But they're full of angry. They're angry. That's what they're not scared to kill you. But pila maya pila. Tako they think to ask, kumana you haya check there.
Thank you.
And then she jumped there. Let you come how much there. Look, what kind of you pay attention to them more. Dakota woke up, together. I noticed that too. What kind of she will have to have, or she will have to have a little need. And he says, yeah. And now, Dakota will have to have among the ladies. Now, afterwards, she'll say, do you really love me? You know, when you talk Indian. What's scare of, you know? But that's, I noticed the difference between Dakota and Washington. But that's how I feel. And banishment, come back. And besides that, we don't pay attention. So the banishment people will come back and raise hell again. So we'll do this again. That's how I look at it. And I'm very happy you guys to have meetings. And this council should be that way. Talk to people and their feelings. And you're all getting along good. But we don't do that. We don't even talk to each other. We don't even look at each other. We're Dakotas. We all belong to this reservation. We should have it really nice where the reservation will be known how we take care of our misfits. You know? And we'll be blessed. We'll be blessed if we do that with the newer generation that's coming up. And I'm gonna only live for a little while because I am really old now and I'm getting sleepy. But anyway, yeah, me and my sister talked. We were raised good. We had good grandpa and a good dad. We never had a mom. She gave birth to us and went back to where she came from. So we had to learn. That's how I think should be talking to the kids. But I took it. I'm all right. I think I'm a good grandma. So thank you for listening to me. And I hope nobody's mad at me.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your words. I appreciate it. I just want to ask you a question to clear up something that you mentioned. You said we have a treatment center, but it's empty, and that we need to put people in the treatment centers rather than send them off.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because they need something. They need forgiveness, loving. They need that. There's a reason why they're born. And you can get them off, you know, what's the matter with you? If you love them, take care of them. But just to give them away, they're going to get to a worse place. They'll do it again somewhere else because they'll be full of hate. That's because this treatment center, I noticed something. I bugged them for almost a year to put my grandkids in there. When they got thrown in jail, I want them to not go home. You stay in the treatment center. You know what? They didn't have no room. But then they had like something like 10 beds, and then they used 4. For all the 5 years that I was trying to get in there. Nothing like that. And just, that's it. I'll go over there just to find out, is there a psychiatrist? Is there a priest or an old timer to come here and sit and talk to them? You know? Me and my husband did. We did. But 7 years before he passed away, him and I used to go to the treatment center and talk to the people that do drugs and alcohol. And you know what? It was like Christmas. Every time we go over there, oh, happy, everybody laughing, you know? And they'll say, gee, you know what? I didn't know I can quit. Happy. And he didn't even have anything yet, but he's going to go to prison, you know? I mean, I'm sorry if I hurt somebody like that, but I think they're rather be sent to a treatment center and straighten up their minds and their hearts. Then, if they can't help them, then send them away.
No, thank you for everything you addressed. What we're facing today are symptoms of poverty. You know, the drug abuse and alcohol addiction. It's all from living in impoverished area.
You know what? You give them a $10 bill, they don't get a loaf of bread because they've never taught. They go and buy vodka. A lot of people steal vodka, and sell vodka, catch them and throw them in jail, you know? Because they're not supposed to be doing that, damaging the youth's mind. Because one day they're going to be parents and they're going to be grandmas, or they're going to be 6 feet under the ground. We have to straighten up this circle of family. We don't have that at all. He really surprised me. A real young, nice looking boy came down to my house with his mom. They came after some nails. So I was standing outside. She was trying to figure out how size nails. Do they have sizes? You know, I don't know. You know, nails are nails. Anyway, I was telling her and looking for it. I think they're 16s. And this teenager was sitting in the car, and he told me to, bad language, and he told me to shut up, you know. And he's too young, but that's what he told me. And you know what? I figured I should get mad at him, because I was older, he's a teenager. She didn't even say nothing. The boy, he had the dirtiest mouth, and she was so young. He was so young, and so I walked over there. And I said, how old are you? He said, none of your business. You know, why do you want to know my age, you know? And he said bad words again, but the mom was, you know, listening, and pretty soon she turned on the radio real loud and can't hear me or him. It's us too, we gotta start correcting them, you know? When they have that bad words, everybody has got bad words. Tell them that you didn't learn that at school, you know? Mm-hmm. But thank you people for doing this. To me, it's healthy. It's healthy for the mind and your being. Like what she said. Long time ago we had it made. We were happy. There was no killing. There was no stealing. And we were all poor. We lived in tents. We had wagon and horses to take us places. We were all happy. We'd all help each other. Like, if we were bad, we had a lot of grandpas who sit us down and talk to us. Yeah. So we were raised by grandparents and grandpas, great grandpas. We had no woman in our life. And I was surprised we were really good cooks. And we were. And we should know how to make quilts, sewing. We did everything really good. We keep our house so spick and span. We cut the yard. We did everything, you know, her and I. And our grandkids. And they see us do it. So I wish the people could get out their feelings like that, you know? Because they're hurting. The young people are hurting. They cover up with hate, doing something bad to you, you know? Instead of saying, I'm sorry, because they were taught, you didn't teach them to say, I'm sorry, don't hurt that person, you know? They just pick on him, his kids probably, or, you know, they pick on him. Maybe he should talk to them, or the mother, or, you know, just talk, say something to them. I'm gonna tell you guys a story. I went to St. Francis and I seen this house. Gee, I couldn't believe how much trash was around that house. And 2 car bodies. And there was a whole bunch of kids outside. And I was sitting to call up. We turned around, I couldn't to stop. And there's a little tiny one all the way up to 10. I didn't know there's 10 of them to that comment. And it was dirty, but they're sitting there playing with the trash. I said, I opened the window. I said, hey kids, you want to work? He said, yeah. I said, what you going to do? So I said, if I bring some trash bags up and give it to you, can you guys fill them all up and clean your whole yard? Can you do that? And I'll give you guys a treat. They're jumping around. And so I went to the boats and gave them 2 boxes of trash bags. I just knocked them there. I went home and I came back 2 days later. And there's nothing in that yard. Nothing. Even the car bodies were gone. But they're all standing in front of the house, all cleaned up and anxious to get something, you know? And every time I see those kids, they would, you gonna help us out again? You know, give some trash bags, you know? Just that a little incident. They like me, you know? They think I'm a good grandma. But I don't feel like that, but what they see, they like. So it's just up to us to talk to them. And this is what you do to the kids. Take them to the police or have the police pick them up and sit them down and have the police talk to them. All kids are scared of police too. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, thank you. Marion, 1 star?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention a few things. I don't even know what all you guys, what brought this on or, who you're looking at, when you put them out. So I'm not really sure what the plan for this is, if you've already got a plan of who and how many and all of this, So, I didn't see nothing to read, so that's why I'm kind of just going on what people are saying. But what I wanted to talk about is, I've raised a lot of kids in my home, and I know what the problems are out there. And myself, I have to believe, I don't know, I guess I put a lot of it on our people that run programs and that sit up here, as the committees and things, because all of the stuff that I've heard, and I've had a couple of brothers get killed, that happened to me. And I felt like that, go send them off, put them in prison, leave them there forever, But when you look at this, what you guys are doing, how long are you going to kick them off the reservation? What do they have to do before they're kicked off? None of that's in here. So I'm totally confused on what you guys are bringing to us. But I'm thinking when I look at things, look at these little kids. I always hear them say, we're for the 𝗟𝗓𝗘, we're here for the people. And then you get out there and you look, what do these little kids have to do? These little tiny ones. They got nothing. There's no places for them to play in the communities, no place for them to go. There's nothing like that. And then as you get older, same thing. You get to high school. You look at the games they play and stuff, those high school people. They got their own kids. They want them to play these games because they want to win. And then you've got all these kids back here wanting to play ball, but they're not good enough. What do they do? A lot of them just walk off. They don't want to play no more. I've seen that. We're not including these kids, I saw a youth program. It was for mission. They wanted these kids to sign up because they were going to take them California or someplace. Okay, I had 2 granddaughters. They had till Friday to get it in, you know, their application. On Wednesday, they went to turn it in. Too late. We already got all the people we need. So you see a lot of that out there. You know, where are these kids that are getting in trouble? What do they have to do? You know, what do they have to do? What? No wonder they need help. And then also, I know there's people that want to go for treatment. And this is not the program's fault because you listen to news. You go over here to sign up. And I know this. It can take 2 months before you can even get in there to make an appointment. You're drunk today, you sobered up, you want to go get treatment. Well, you come back in 2 months, okay? Go to this other one. Oh, you got to go to the hospital. You got to get a doctor's statement. And then if we have room, we'll take you. These are people that want help. We're not giving them help. So how do you think we can live out here, you know, with all the drinking, all the drugs? There's people, everybody, the jail said, send us names of all the people who do drugs, who sell drugs. So I've heard from a lot of people that sent those names in. What happened? How much people are getting caught for selling drugs? Everybody knows who they are. They don't get picked up. What about the ones who, you know, I don't know, they're just putting things out there and it's like we don't have any help. You call the police, there's not enough police to go around. You know, I called for one the other day. They never showed up. Well, the first day I said, they didn't show up, so I said, just let it go. The next time I had to call them, they never did show up. Is that their fault? No, that's the people here, you know, that run our tribe that should be looking at these programs and seeing what they need. They don't do that. These programs don't have enough money. You know, we don't have enough workers. So I don't know, that's what I see. And in myself, I don't know how many people you're talking about removing from the reservation. This is an IRA government. What about our you know, what the old people brought up, what we had, you know, the way it used to be? That's all gone. We're going with our IRA government. And where did that all come up? You know, for me, it's confusing. And for these young kids, the older kids, it's confusing for them too. We need to get that. We need to have the ones that say, we're here for the yapping. Okay, get in there and be for them. You know, all this money you're getting, break it apart. Get something for these young kids. And as they get older, maybe they'll be better. Go to the schools, talk to them. You know, tell them what we need. It's not working. There's too many, you see too many relatives. These ones are their kids and they're, you know, those are the ones who get the whatever's coming up. They're the ones who get that. They get the being able to see and participate in things. These ones, they don't wear the good clothes. You know, they don't live in a nice house. So they're left out. You guys all know that. You know, look at that. That's how it is out there. So you guys need to come together before you do this to see how you're going to help everybody. Or you can get rid of everybody and we'll start over. That only means these people, the same kids, are going to grow up and be sent out again. Who's going to be living here pretty soon unless we make a difference? So if you want to get this, I'm against it until we get something set up for all these kids, all these young people. And those ones that are going to be sent out, you know, these young people, some of them straighten up on their own. They might be terrible down here. But at some point, some of them straighten up. They stay out of trouble. And of course, some of them don't. You know, they beat up people. They kill people, they shoot people. And then you call the police, and like somebody here said, well, they won't sign, what do they call it? You know, when somebody fights with them, they won't sign a complaint on them. So we can't do nothing. Why? Look at that. Find out why. They beat up somebody here, almost kill them. But because that person is afraid, they won't sign a complaint. What can you guys do as a council? How can you change that? Get with the police, because those people are going to be doing that all the time. But because somebody won't sign a complaint, there's nothing you can do. They're going to wait until they kill somebody else or kills, you know? So help them out, help these people out that need you. And don't just say we're for the Oyate. Be there, show us something out there. We don't see nothing. I mean, I don't see nothing. I really don't. So that's just all I want to bring up. How you're gonna manage this whole thing. I wish it was more clear.
Thank you for your comments. Ms. Windsor, when you were on council, were there any laws or anything that you guys tried to create in order to make like some sort of mandatory reporting ordinance or anything like that?
They all have to make monthly reports.
Oh, no, I mean, as far as violence in the community, where you said that if somebody doesn't press charges.
I've never seen anything like that.
Okay.
Needs to be done.
And just for the people's information, this committee, along with a few others, are working on a big youth program that's forthcoming. So hopefully that's going to get funded this next year if the rest of the council agrees with it, because it's a pretty hefty dollar amount to that. The council did just receive $5 million grant for, was it a rehabilitation facility? So we had a huge donation there. So there's that forthcoming. As far as just to address some of your concerns, I personally, and I don't think any of the other committee have people identified that we want to banish, so we're pushing this. Our communities and people came forward and said that they would like to see a banishment. And it came forth with an incident that happened in one of our communities. So our community council, that community council rep brought a banishment forward. And there we found out that the banishment law we had only is for non-members. So we are bringing this forward today to see what the public wants to do and getting yes and no's from everybody to see what, kind of read the room and see what people are wanting to do. And while I have the floor here, I would like to just make a quick comment for those people that are listening. If you can't make it today, we will be taking public comments via email. And the email is comments@rst-nsn.gov. Oh, rst.comments? Okay, thank you. Changed, huh? Okay, so I'm sorry, let me repeat that. It's rst.comments@rst-nsn.gov.
And reiterate that it's not after anybody specific.
Oh, yes, and we're not going after anybody specifically. We're not sitting here with people in mind. We're just trying to bring forth a request from one of our communities, and as the committee who creates ordinances for the council to review, that's what we did. So anytime we have a public hearing, it doesn't mean that's something we're going to definitely do. We do this to involve the public, to get feedback from the public, to see what the people want to do. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you. Next on my list, I have, oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I need to ask a question. You guys have power to listen to somebody that's really treated bad? Or do they have to come to tell you? It's done with nobody helping at all. They got our papers, everything. Okay, my son died, and his house was vacant, and the oldest granddaughter was supposed to watch the house and the little ones, 3 little ones that he had. And he gave, he gave the other 2 back to the mom, and he gave the youngest to me. So that was all right after he passed away. But the older daughter lived there, and she sold the house. And that house is supposed to go to the oldest son. But she sold the house because she was on meth and alcohol. Okay? So I came and told the tribe, the president, I told 𝗟𝗓𝗙, I told Mission. You know, nobody did anything. Nobody. And why is it that they can't take care of it in that land, and this person is a non-member? And how come he has no right to stay there? He's over on 2 more lots beside him. So he has 3 lots. And he's not even from here. He's an Oklahoma Indian. And he's still there. And he has a whole bunch of junk on the property. He's got a bunch of car bodies, bunch of trailer houses, and he's got horses and cows on one side, and a little tiny yard. But nobody has done anything. 𝗟𝗓𝗙 didn't go check it out, and BIA didn't. And the police didn't. He's all shooting off guns. He shoots out dogs that go by and shoots them. A member of this tribe, he has no whole year. Past almost 3 years, we've been trying to get somebody to help us give it back, the house and the land. That was done because she wanted more drugs and more drink. And now she's sober. But that's what she did. And that guy's still there. And he got more trailer house, and he's gonna put them down below where my son's old place. There's a lot down there, and he's gonna put those trailer houses down there. And he invite people that want to move over here from Oklahoma, live down there, and he'll pay rent to him. And that's the tribes. The land belongs to us. Us, the Dakota people here, but we cannot do anything about it. And it's been going on, and if I knew and I came here earlier or something set up like this, I could have told you guys what's going on with people from different reservations that come on this band and taking over because of the sickness. So I don't know. And I don't know if anybody will ever do something about it.
Well, as council representatives, we can't give you any legal advice, but I can tell you that anybody who has a home on the Rosebud Reservation has to have a home site. And their home site has to be approved if it's not privately owned. So I would talk with somebody at the Solo office to see what that land status is. 𝗟𝗓𝗙 land, or if it's Solo.
It was the 𝗟𝗓𝗙 land, so he took the papers to the permitting horses, signed off on it, and Scott Herman signed it.
I would just refer you back to their board. Go back to the 𝗟𝗓𝗙 board, visit them.
And he turns around now, he's gonna sell it, one kind of mission for $30,000. And it's paid for. My husband paid it. After my son died, he wanted the little ones to stay there, because we live in a small house. Stay there, and he paid for the house. But the receipt said it was Homer's, he paid it. But these don't listen still to that guy that's from Oklahoma.
Let me think on this a little bit, and I'll get back to you after this, okay?
Because
We're talking
if you
about
guys have power or can help somebody, you can make a some kind of statement that says, banish him. You know, he's not from here. He's a Oklahoma Indian. He comes from Dakota, very nice. He learns that Sunday. And a white man lives on Codogs too. She sold them a piece of land for $1,000. And that didn't go to, you know, the offices, but so they moved in. So those guys could get banished, you know, because they don't belong here. A white man and an Oklahoma Indian, you know? They have no say. The tribe, Rosebud Sioux tribe, don't have no say to help you if somebody overs on your land and house. Because you're dead. If you have kids.
Yes, and then I got Keith Horse looking after you say something. Keith's on the list, so go ahead now.
Okay, same thing is happening. My brother, he passed away in 2020. He has the same kind of land description I have. And he passed away and his wife adopted her grandson. And the grandson had alcohol, we call it syndrome, alcohol syndrome, really bad. When he was born, he was all cleaned up. One of my grandsons, we had well baby twins. And the baby were laid together. And the grandson was tickled the seat and he was kicking. This one here, this was like he was dead. Mouth open, just lay there, and the doctor said that he had alcohol syndrome, really bad. The mom didn't want it, she was drunk. So the grandma went and took the baby and raised it. And they told her, baby has to have surgery. Parts of his body's going to grow more. Other parts ain't. So they took the baby and they put boots on him. So that his legs would hang dangled there. Carried him around. Put him in the swing. He was hanging there. And when my brother she passed, he died of kidney. The son was just left him. And my brother went and took care of him. And he got sick. He didn't do what he was supposed to. And this boy went and raped somebody. And out of that, I found the girl turned 14. The boy turned 12. And here, welcome. They went up from home to the house. There's 2 acre house. And the house, the brother made it so that lights, everything was paid for, money in the bank. So what did he do? He had that card. They taught him how to use that card. So the judges in Minnesota said that he can't remember nothing. He's got a mind of a child. Yet he had enough brain to get money out of the machine. So this girl comes along and took over. Now she's the wife, left my house, and she has parties there. And they get him so high, he's wandering around out there, don't know what to do. And I keep complaining about it. But she goes and tells people, oh, I got the land over here, and bring those horses with you, and they'll be over here. I don't know how many times I've reported this. They got him out of there, but she does it again. Now, different ones go down there and have a party. They give him some kind of pill, and he don't remember nothing. And he never used to hit. He had a stick, and he'll sit there and he hits things. But when this woman got into his life, my brother said, she's like a man who's bossing him around. He started to hit. And then when, I don't know if he's being paid back or what. Now he's turning around and hitting. So now she's screaming, domestic violence, feed me. And she even said, actually, I'm supposed to stay away from you. I said, who in their mind didn't know these people and know who's has medical issues, mental problems. But he's there. They pick them up, she sneaks back over, and everything starts all over, all night long. They're hollering and screaming. And there's a lot of people that where I live are around here, maybe some of them are here, and they hear that. And I keep reporting it. He's handicapped. Why are they using him? He's got paper saying, one said, I so-and-so give my land and house to so-and-so, and he moved in. He didn't watch his kid. So that little kid played with the string on the bale hay. He went and hung himself. And that little boy is a man now, and he's handicapped. Down the line. I don't know why. The mom works for the Indian school, where I'm from, St. Francis. Teaches our innocent kids. Why couldn't she tell her daughter, you know, you can't do that. But if they're going to stay, then I'll teach him and help him get his GED so he can get his 2 kids back. His 2 kids are writing letters from after us. My brother was getting that house ready for them to move in. That girl said, Grandpa, I have to have my own room because I'm a girl. Her brother has another room. So he was fixing that place up, and this woman came along. She's supposed to be a relative. Her grandpa's helped raise us. He was standing there telling him, ran Kathy out of there, the mother of that child, common-law wife, run them out, and she starts fighting him, beating him up. You're dumb. Where's your mom? You don't know anything. And then get somebody else. This is a thing that goes on and on. It started from Tom. She burnt that house down and that boy killed himself. So she moved over here, and now he's with behind my neighbor. And nobody's done anything about it. And he's handicapped, and he's got 7 brothers. And his dad died. The blood dad died 8 months ago. And he wanted to see him, but they couldn't take him over there. And then the welfare called, come and pick up the kids in Myrtle. So he is on Facebook. Somebody give me a ride to go get my kids. And then this woman comes with the mom's car. Didn't want to take him over there. So they put a charge on him. The girl couldn't come home. Now she said, I don't know where her brother's at. We're not together. But I want to come home. And that's her house, brother's house, common-law wife, or a girlfriend, or whatever, has to stay there. And he has to be there. And they're both have to be mom and dad, not boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. Mom and dad and raise those kids. That's their appointments. But nobody wants to help them. And then she said, well, we can't go because he's helping me with my mom. My mom's sick. I said, what is he doing now? Changing diapers? Pampers? He can't? We could take him and pick those kids up and bring them back because the relatives from Sioux could help take care of them and raise them. It's not working out. The people out there that know what's going on. Nobody's saying anything. And it's really pitiful when you have to see a handicapped person or on meeting. Or somewhere they know who they remember and know. They go over and ask them. She's seen one of her traffic.
Over there, and so my grandson lives on the other side, and he lives over here in St. Francis, and he goes across, get food for my grandson.
So that woman should be banished out of here because she's abusing the money. And this handicapped person has money. Get policemen, and she's waiting for that. Every chance they get, they sell something or they give him clothes. She goes and sells it. She wears it. He's wandering around the ditches and so. I don't know. What should we do about it? There's no law, you know.
somebody to jump up and do it right and take care of it. No law and order, and gave me told to run the cops. I'm supposed to still wait for you. Because I talked to the police station and I talked to some, something. Listen, and that's why I bring this up. We're related, and we're related to this girl. Her grandpa, my grandpa.
Okay, we do have a program called the Protective Payee Program when somebody is handicapped, and then the office over here, Rose Courtier would be the person to talk to and see. They would sign up for that program and they would take care of their funds.
What's it called?
Protective Payee. Payee. Keith, you got the floor.
Well, let's see, good afternoon. Yeah, Chakwase on the Sioux spot. I'm not gonna go around the world. I just want to get to the point. The banishment is part of the Treaty of Article 1. It says non-native, but also native in terms, in language terms. So you really have to look at that. We talk about basically the law, jurisdiction, and then our kids. You know, we talk about our kids and all these kids that getting wild, the parents. But ever since this law come in place, child abuse, that ruined everything. That ruined the whole getting after your kids, especially in schools if teachers try to straighten your son or daughter out. They get charges on that too, harassment or, you know, just try to discipline them. So you've got to look at all critical issues on that. You know, if you want to banish somebody, let's take care and take a look at those laws first. Because that's what's important. A lot of Dakota values we have, oral and tradition. Some that speak their language, they don't understand, so they get offended. But our elders are really knowledgeable. So we have to maybe, you know, in the future, get all your elders together, put it together, come up with some solutions. A lot of changes. We can't go back in time, but there's changes that goes along that sometimes we gotta adapt to. And it's hard because hard stuff has to change. We talk about drug dealers, people bootlegging. You know, there's nothing done. I feel sad because this is what's a real beautiful place. Now we see each community, boy, a lot of spray paint. Well, nothing's done about that. We used to take pride in our communities. We used to help each other, but we don't do that anymore. There's a lot of jealousy. That's never ending. We don't know when that's going to stop. Have to look at a lot of them. What the tribe can do, or who's going to do it in those terms. I know a lot of them want banishment, a lot of them don't. But wherever how it is, you know, it's up to the council to vote on it. Goes back to the floor. heard earlier, 𝗟𝗡𝗡. That's all I hear is 𝗟𝗡𝗡. What about the 𝗟𝗡𝗡? What are you gonna do for them? I don't see anything done yet. But we sure talk about that. One thing we gotta look at is our future. The Dakota. Gotta set something for them so they can be proud of. And I know the tribe are gonna talk about building a real big rec center. Hope that comes through. But that we develop more curriculum for our kids, more employment for our kids. Maybe all this crime will stop. Maybe all this spray painting will stop. And it'll be a lot easier that way. But I know there's going to be a balance. There's always a balance. There's always a positive. There's always a negative. But you have to look at that balance. Take one step at a time. There's only just a group of people, but there's a lot of them couldn't make it. And I just want to say that much. And I want to thank everybody.
Thank you. And thank you again for mentioning the people that can't be here. I don't know if our IT person, can you put our email address, the email address across the bottom of the live stream? It's a banner. Okay, thank you. And if anybody wants to send a letter through the mail, they can do that too. That's P.O. Box 430, Rosebud, South Dakota, 57570. Thank you for your comments. Mr. Horselooking, did you say you were for or against?
Well, I'm just going to be biased. Because it all could change when you guys vote. That's what I said.
Okay.
You know, it's going to go to the council. But after you guys get defeated there, then what?
You mean
Those are
advice?
optimistic, looking out just for either way.
Okay. And I kind of just want to clear the air. As legislators, we really take a beating sometimes. People always say, what have you done? What are you doing? We don't see nothing being done for the people. This is us trying. There's 20 of us that we have to convince, and we sit around a table, and there's a lot of steps. And when we change a law and order code, it takes a reading. It takes 2 readings, has to be published in the paper for 10 days. And then after that, and a public hearing, and then it has to, after 30 days of being published in the paper, it becomes law. So that's a long, lengthy process, especially for people who haven't seen our last council meetings. We don't get through the agenda. There's just so much going on. If you have any constructive criticism on how you think that we could improve that, we'll always listen and hear people out. But I just want people in the public to know that we are aware of the things that are going on in our communities. And as legislators, the council reps, we can't just make a motion and then it happens tomorrow. These laws are in place and there's a certain way to enact them for your rights and by our Constitution. And the more that you all know that, the better, because you can help encourage and push us and come to our community, our committee meetings, giving us ideas, because we are open to that. Our committee is open to the public if you want to come sit in. The Governmental Affairs Committee meets every other Monday. So we are open to that. And we did recently, it took 6 months, but we got the bootlegging ordinance or law and order code changed. So that is now a Class A crime. And it's a minimum of a $3,000 fine. The committee is working on that for meth laws. And this is just one of the many ordinances that we're working on. So we're going to have several public hearings in the future here. But I just wanted to state that for everybody to know. I have another person who needed the floor. Did I get to Johnny Funny Lake?
Oh.
Yes, you got the floor.
Oh, hello, how are you doing today?
Hi, thank you for being here.
Oh, yeah, my name is Johnny 𝗟𝗡𝗩𝗘 and I'm with Dakota, but I live in Mission. I've been here for about 9 years. And, but I'm Dakota at the end of the day, you know? And, so I'm pro banishment because, you know, the reason why and the reason being is that now we're here at the day in present times of 2026 where our 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗡s and all the elders have to speak upon this, you know, and have to fight for those rights that we used to have a long time ago, and they have to speak up for it. You know, I was watching this about 40 minutes ago from Mission, and I was supposed to come here earlier, but the ride flaked out. So I walked and I got the ride, came over. So I knew how important these things are to our people. I'm here speaking on behalf of the women of my family, the head of the household, you know, and my niece was a victim of what these 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗡s are talking about. You know, I'm a victim of what these 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗡s are talking about. I'm also a victim of my brother Dreamer when he passed away too. I've seen it when I was watching it, and I was like, man, who am I to stay away? I can't stay away. I gotta go over there. I gotta go down there. I gotta go down there and let them know how this man affects the people, how that young boy affected, you know, Dreamer and all that, and he shouldn't be back. You know, those are the things that we all care about. But I'm not in no leadership position, nor am I a chief, holy man, or none of these things. I think 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗡, you know, just wanting to see things like that, you know. And I don't know about the tribe, or I don't get all pro BIA or 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗡 and all these different things. I just want us to live how we live. So this man came to our lands. And he's not a leader of paradise. You know, he perceives himself like that by saying it to other people. So now he gets that sort of power towards it, you know. But no, he's not a leader. I'm head security at Paradise. And I said, I don't want him here for this year coming up because of what he did to my niece. She was 16 years old. 16 years old when this man entered into my life. And he knew my concerns because in Dakota way, even if it's a niece, it was my daughter because I grew her up when she was little to now, you know, and I always made sure that there's going to be a time where she dates and there's going to be a time where these things are going to happen, and I'm not going to keep this from that because I got to let her play out life how it is, but I'm always going to be there for her. So whenever this happened, from 16 all the way up to now, this guy's 56 years old, somewhere around there, an old man thinking that he's in leadership. But having the mind like that, having the colonized mind like that, I don't get all racial and all this other stuff, but having that colonized mindset that you could just disrespect another man and his family after you've called him son, and you've called that same girl a granddaughter. He called her granddaughter, and when he was sneaking around with her, she's 19 now, but they're telling everyone that she's 20-some years old, but she's 19 now. And when she was sleeping at their house over in Punkaland over here, his family just thought that was my niece and that's a granddaughter and she'd stay in his daughter's room with them, not knowing that there's all this sneaky stuff going on, you know. And then one night I got a call from my relative, Harvey Littlebread, said, had a call and said, she texted, your niece has texted me and it seems like she's going through something, but it sounds like an older man choked her out. And I was like, what? And then so I get a hold of it, and then of the situation. They say that she's at Horse Creek with an auntie. She had just came from Punkaland getting choked by this guy, and she had to pretend to still be around him so she get a ride back up because she said she was in the middle of the road running from him and got a ride back. She was so scared, so when he said get in, she got in, and then he got back on this side at this relative's residence, you know, and he's pacing back and forth. And my niece says that he has his little handgun, he's pacing back and forth because he messed up. Because there's an uncle involved here. You know, and he felt that shame towards, oh no, something happened. So that's why she ended up getting out of that situation, and we convinced her to go to buy buffalo calf and press charges, and she did. And through third-party influence, another guy who should be banished, because these are non-natives. I'm not in here speaking on a Dakota man or any other stuff, so I'm speaking on non-natives here. Another non-native messaged her and says, oh, he wants you back. If that's not coercion, I don't know what is, you know, because he said, oh, he wants you back, I'm coming down here to pick you up. He picked her up and took her back to this guy down to Grass Mountain. And she went in the same day we were in the courthouse, down the street at this courthouse in Rosebud, trying to fight this matter. He had her go in and drop that charge. And then he ended up, after they argued, getting a charge on her. But they drove past me just today, drove past me laughing and fingering me, stuff like that. And I'm telling him, you're a pervert. You're a pervert. Washichi, you're a pervert. Get away from me. So then I know the severity of why we need to banish people, why things need to happen the way they do. We do need to respect our elderlies a whole lot more. Seeing the Unchi today bring out all her paperwork and seeing the bloodline and everything, we need to take honor and respect in all of that. So we do all have all these different hoops and laws and different things, but at the end of the day, I do know that the council will make decisions, and I know you guys got to get together and do those things, and I respect you for that, and I respect you just for hearing my words today. But we do need laws like that, and I do know, but he's not in any way, shape, or form a paradise representative as far as trying to be a chief or anything. He just has feathers on his head. They call that feather dusters when you don't have a meaning to it. You want to walk around and say that you're going to be a chief and a leader. One day I asked him about this Washichi man. I said, he's putting a bonnet on and he's walking around. What do you think about that? Did he earn it? No, he didn't, but you know what? It's not my problem. I may live here, but you Lakotas have to figure that out on your own. It's not my problem. So you want to be a leader. You want to be a leader and you want to say that in front of the people and live here around you. But whenever certain things happen, you're not going to step forward and say some things, and that's not a leader at all. You might as well just take that off and give it to somebody who deserves it, because he doesn't. He doesn't deserve none of those titles or anything, and they're all self-proclaimed, and that's why I was here to say that now, because of what's going on. So I'm pro-banishment. I thank you guys for giving me your time, and if there's any further updates about meetings, I will be in attendance to those meetings, So appreciate you. I'll say about that much, and to support all of you guys too as well. Honor all banishment, or however it goes. We're all together in Kijeli Chasha, so that's how we'll decide things. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you for that. Next I have, Josh Rowland Soldier. I thought it said Jonathan Soldier. You got the floor, Josh.
I introduce myself, where I come from. I want to say good afternoon, everybody. On my grandmother's side, I'm a descendant of Chief Bear, Chief Quick Bear, and Chief Kilside. And on my grandfather's side, I'm a descendant of Chief Hugh, also a descendant of grandson of the late Homer. So I want to say that as a Sikh, search for what is right. I was raised to help people, to protect people, to stick up for people. I'm also the president of West Mountain. We all see things differently. We all have a voice to certain things. But it's about what's doing what's right, what's honest, what's truthful, enforcing what is right. I'm sure you heard all the women, the Kichita speak. And hopefully it goes farther than what it's broadcasting. There's a lot going on that we don't fully comprehend, or it's hidden violations. I just want to say I'm for the banishment of non-natives and to see things the right way, as it should be, a code of values. I agree with Keith, but he says also, it says finding the facts, finding the truth. Love, ask people, listen, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Banishment of non-natives only, not natives, or not tribal members? Is there anybody else that wants to speak that didn't get to sign in? You got the floor, sir. What's your name?
My name is Ronald Smith Sr. I think it's nice that you guys are addressing this problem. It's long overdue. It's a hard issue. I'm against the banishment for people who have a hard time. What's that? They're going to try to banish it here. And here we're cutting our own throats trying to do it to each other. A banishment. I'm for it to a certain amount of time. Or they're changed, like treatment center, those periods where they're learning. Maybe 10 years, 15 years. Forgiveness and prayer. I heard a lot of people saying, but I'm not, I want to abandon them forever. There are people that trouble, no members, it's the right, people can change and forgive. We know that. I know Tom knows where that's spoken. Oh, good words. It has to be done. And I'm glad we're taking steps, but I do also think we should leave it up to resolution, our referendum vote. So we won't point fingers at just you guys sitting here and say, oh, you did it. Something comes up. Oh, you did it. Look, it came back on you. And we're all going to face it sometimes. I have family out there too, and they've been hurt. I've been hurt about. I have family slabs. I have them being beat up, hurt by the ops. Beat up, hurt. I even had a method by shot by a cop. All that, and I grew up in police family. All my brothers are cops. I was a security guard all my life. I worked at the BD. So I'm on that side, so I know what's all the issues of what goes on. But abandonment, okay, we're not for right. There are a couple members. Only thing, I think only Congress can do that. They're really bad within the community. I've seen it happen in Parliament, temporary, not forever. Maybe 10 years, maybe 5 years. But it seems like they will go through it. They're really so long, like somebody said that they learned. We can't blame each other for this because we all are victims of growing up with not country values. We grew up by tradition, boarding school, Catholic school. But we don't know how to be parents. And we're just not starting to care. And I guess we got to educate ourselves. A lot of parents and try to learn from each other. The lady spoke good. All you guys spoke good because you're concerned about the people in the future. But I'm for it. For limit of time, but not forever. These are our own people. We just can't kick them off the reservation. I think that's Congress' problem. Can do that. But they do it, okay. I've only known one family from it that picks out. You show me any other ones, I might be remembered because I've been involved in this. That's all I want to address that. I'm for it, but not forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments, Mr. Smith. On the third page of this ordinance, it does, section 810A-10. It says reconsideration and revocation of banishment. And it says, after 5 years, a person banished may request reconsideration. So we did include that in here, but we are up for suggestions, and we thank you for your testimonies today. We do understand that this is a very hard issue. These are our relatives. They're our tribal members. If you would like to take time to take this home, you do have time to look it over and make suggestions, and you can just send those comments to that email, or you can hand deliver them to the secretary's office, and or you can mail it in to the PO Box 430 Rosebud. If there's no more questions or statements, is there anybody else who would like to speak? Okay, well, that concludes our hearing. I thank you all for your, what? Sorry, Ben, was you saying something? Oh, don't listen to him, he shoot you. That's why he's the boss in here, he's gonna shoot you. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you guys for coming.